All right. Hello, everybody. So we're back here with another episode of the FCMG Producer's Log. I'm going to be chatting today about some LED lights and some other cool stuff. But right now, I'm trying to get hosted on some raffles, which I'm learning is a part of this this whole Twitch thing. Didn't really get into it the way that I feel like people normally do. I feel like people typically watch a lot of stuff on Twitch and then kind of get the idea like, oh, this could be like something that's good for me and the stuff that I do. I barely watched anything on Twitch before I got on here. I watched a couple of like YouTubers get into Twitch and say like, hey, check me out on Twitch as well. Things like that, but never really like watched them a ton on Twitch or did that kind of stuff. But it's been a really interesting platform to get to know. I am, let's see, I guess that's not the right command for that one. But so there's a whole bunch of channels out there on Twitch where you can host your own, you can ask them to host your own stream through like a raffle or a giveaway, something like that. Basically what happens is they you go into their stream and you ask, question mark host me, like there's some sort of like command, and that gets you into the raffle. So that's what we've been trying to do here. What's the there we go. Host me. Yeah, so as we're getting more people into the stream, before I get really into the meat of things, I'm gonna kind of do a little pre-chat beforehand, talk to people, answer any questions that pop up in the 7 inches tall. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to be kind of doing some upkeep stuff at the beginning of streams. I'll be trying to find spots to get hosted. I'll be answering your questions and more or less just getting ready to get things started. We might even play some nice music from, let's see. We might even like show some music off from art lists. I've been doing that a whole lot and, chat to people in the meantime. But I recently worked on a video with King Studios, Visionary, and it was my company, Full Coverage Media Group. We did a collaboration, and it was themed after The Witcher. So it was, if you've watched our previous streams, you would know that we've been talking about post-production for a music video for a while. Here we go. We've been doing post-production on that music video for a while, a couple episodes, the past 3, I think, which is 3 weeks of editing and whatnot. And then here we go. Couple weeks of editing, but we have that video posted now. It got posted up on this previous Friday. It's now Sunday. So I've been doing up the Instagram stories and whatnot, and trying to get it going on social media. Get some water and coffee into us. Beautiful. Okay, let's close out of those things. Alrighty, we're entering into raffles. We're doing all kinds of stuff like that. Talking to Streaming Co-op and all these other channels. Oh, interesting. Actually, as I've been doing this, I've been learning more about Twitch as a platform in general, and it's got some really interesting features. I just Subo, I saw your thing. I'm actually planning on coming back tonight and playing some games. Finally, it's been a while since I've gotten on and like streamed some games. I'm down to do custom maps when we get in there. My buddy's asking about when we're gonna play some Left 4 Dead 2. I've been telling him for weeks. If you watch the streams, you've seen it. So yeah, tonight I have some time. We'll be back after probably 7 p.m. I'll be back on here. Silent Hill, Resident Evil and stuff. Oh, cool. Interesting. All right, so Left 4 Dead has been getting a whole lot of like mods over the years, obviously. It's been around for Left 4 Dead 2. It's been around for a while, and it does like some really cool stuff. So, sweet. Senna Danny, thank you for hosting. Appreciate it. We're trying to get this stream going. Sexy Legs Coach mod. Okay. Well, that's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna be doing that later tonight. If you watch on Twitch, we'll be streaming there. I don't have any of that like YouTube gamer profile or any of that stuff. So go to Twitch, twitch.tv/FCMG_stay. I should really have it in a little in a note underneath on my thing. But yeah, catch that tonight. We'll be playing some video games with buddy Brandon here, and hopefully some other friends too. I think it'll be a good time. All right, so we're trying to get... Oh, that's Tim the Tap Man. We're not going to get featured on there. Let's see here. Rocket League. Yeah, right. Okay, so I think that's all good to go. That's basically all I needed to get done there. Let's get our chat boxes all organized and whatnot, and then let's get into this stream. I got some stuff to talk to you about. Here we go. Let's get out our list. If you've ever watched the FCMG podcast, you know that I make lists and try and keep myself in order that way. The big thing is being able to have those segues all planned out, you know. So I've got this kind of list right here on my phone. You can sort of see it there. Got notes on what I want to talk about, and one of the first things is actually the chair that you'll notice behind me. So this thing, got a new chair. I don't know if hey Nate, Will, how's it going? We're gonna chat about that video in a little bit. We're gonna talk about filming that and all those parts and whatnot. But in the meantime, I wanted to talk about ergonomics. Keeping like an ergonomic keyboard and all that jazz, like this thing. Great ergonomics. Using devices that make your workflow easier, such as this guy. I don't think it's turned on right now, so I'm going to unplug it. This is a Torbox, which is a little module, allows you to program keys and, you know, do all kinds of sweet jazz on there. You can custom program all those buttons, which makes it really, really, really good for video editing on several different platforms, photo editing, all kinds of stuff like that. And then your big thing is going to be like what you're connected to. So like I'm always using my mouse. I have this ergonomic mouse over here. This is by Anchor. It was maybe $15, dirt cheap, but fantastic. Move this a little bit here. But this chair has been doing really good. I got it about a week, little less than a week ago. It wasn't on the last live stream, obviously, but it's been straightening out my back. It's got lumbar support. So there's this pad down here that you can adjust up and down. There's a head pad, and that's not just so you can take a nice nap, even though you can take a really nice nap in this thing. That's to help support your neck as you're editing and you're sitting here and keep your posture good. It's not easy. Like when you're sitting there for hours and hours and hours on end, it gets to be rough on your spine. And especially like I do lifting in the mornings, so I'll do like weightlifting, which compresses my spine, and then I'll go sit in a chair, which further compresses my spine. It's just not healthy for you. So this thing even has like a little leg rest that pops out. You can go all the way back on it, which is just great. You can take a nap at work. It's fantastic. Stick your legs out. But yeah, you lock this boy into place and you're good to go. You're in your captain's chair, and you're raring to get some things done. Yeah, which is definitely the way to do it. If you haven't looked into it today and you work at like at a desk, anything like that, check out standing desk workstations. I have one right here. You can just click the button and raise the whole thing up and down so you can stand up at work and do your thing. Check out these chairs that are highly rated for ergonomics. Check out keyboards and mouses. Like, do yourself a favor, especially if you're young, if it's not even affecting you yet, get these things and get them early, because there's nothing like, you know, working on editing for 10 years. My buddy Justin could tell you, working on editing and all this stuff for a couple of years, and then realizing, oh shoot, I can't sit at a keyboard for more than, 3-4 hours at a time now before I have to get up because my sciatic nerve is bothering me, or whatever reason. Like, there's so many different ways in which your body can be like, don't do that. No, that's bad. And it'll let you know. Like, it's not gonna wait around for you to realize it. Yeah, so now I get to tuck my legs up under this chair. It's beautiful. I get to relax here and just work. So yeah, that's what we've been working on lately. We are going to bring up a little video to show you. This is going to be... Oh, didn't mean to start it right there. Okay, so this video is on YouTube. This is, if you search Witcher Visionary, you should be able to find it. It's a cover of the song Toss a Coin to Your Witcher by the band Visionary. We're a couple friends of mine. We all work together with King Studios, which is the recording studio where they produced this and made everything happen. They mixed, mastered, all that stuff there. The three of us, the three companies that is, we got together and we made this video and did it on a real tight budget. We just made sure that we could afford, did what we could afford and made something that we all believed in. And I think, everyone was really passionate about the project. Justin, Ryan, Solek, all of these guys worked really hard on their parts on getting everything good and tight. These are the guys in Visionary. And Kevin Offlerbach, Elijah Coyle, Nate Williams, and Ashley Reinhardt all did a great job acting in this thing. We had a part written for me and Kevin to do some fighting, but we just didn't have enough time to produce it. So we're going to be doing that stuff later on. We're going to be getting some more footage out there for you. But let's move this a little bit, like right there. Okay. We're going to have that footage out soon. We've got some shorts planned, some more stuff that we're going to be working on. But this is the video that we produced in the meantime. I'll do a playthrough and I'll show you that video, and then let's chat a little bit about it. If you have any questions, feel free to add them in the chat. I'm always looking to get some more people chatting there. Yeah. So this is Toss a Coin to Your Witcher, covered by Visionary, and video produced by yours truly. Shot, edited, directed, all that stuff. Good things. All right, so I'm going to mute my microphone so you can hear this better and you don't have to hear an echo. Peace.
When a humble bard graced a ride along with Geralt of Rivia, along came this song. From when the White Wolf fought a silver-tongued devil, his army of elves at his hooves did they revel. They came after me with masterful deceits, broke down my lute and they kicked in my teeth, while the devil's horns minced our tender meat, and so cried the Witcher, he can't be bleed. Toss a coin to your Witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your Witcher, oh valley of plenty. Of the world, fight the mighty horde that bashes and breaks you and brings you to mourn. He thrust every elf far back on the shelf, high up on the mountain from whence it came. He wiped out your past, kicked in his chest. He's a friend of humanity, so give him a rest. That's my epic tale. Our champion prevailed, defeated the villain. Now pour him some ale. Toss a
So I love that video. I think it turned out really cool. There's like little bits here and there where I noticed that it's not exactly what I was trying to do. Excuse me. But at the same time, it came out a lot better than I thought it would. It's something that's like, it took a lot of effort between all the people that were involved, and honestly, like I'm really proud of how it came out. It's wasn't an easy video to produce. Like there were a couple of special effects in there. Like there was the eye replacement. There was the transition when Ashley brought out her knife. And obviously we were working with weapons. There was also the shot with Kevin where he's swinging around this, I wanted to make it look like it's a spell of some sort. That was pretty nuts. Yeah, so it was a crazy process. It was a lot of fun. We got a lot of stuff done in a relatively small amount of time. I think it was only like 2 days of shooting we had, and then let's see. Yeah, 2 days of shooting. It was real short, which is, I mean, for a project like this, like it doesn't it doesn't make an easy schedule, that's for sure. Like we were trying to shoot at different times of the day so that we could have different lighting and different angles and all that stuff, but that makes for a longer day of shooting. So we had to kind of break things up accordingly, and luckily we broke them up in a way that when things started to go a little longer, it didn't stop us from doing the other things that we needed. Like we had buffer time between each shoot, which when I think about it now was a great idea, and like we should really do that just for every shoot in general. But it was a situation where like we had to cram a whole lot in, and then we didn't realize it was as big as it was we didn't realize that we needed even more time. So we had to cut an entire section of the shootout, which was going to be me and Kevin doing a little battle duke out. But when I think back, that's probably best, because that was going to be the most dangerous shot that we would do. And we'd already done a shot where, Kevin's basically swinging a fireball around, and that's pretty dangerous. We had buckets of water set aside. We had people watching to make sure that there was no damage. There was no stray embers that caught anything. There were nobody got caught on fire because we're all wearing costumes with like polyester and all kinds of stuff on them. So it's a situation where you have to be aware of, sweet, I want a host raffle. Tight. Love it. Streaming co-op. Thank you very much. We'll be chatting with your people soon. Yeah, so we're talking about this music video that we just did, which was a cover of Toss a Coin to Your Witcher. And I mean, I think it turned out great. I think it turned out fantastic, and I don't think that there's really anything to question about that. But there's as someone who produces things, as a creative person, it's always, you have to just sort of put it out there at some point. Like you get to the point where you're like, okay, all right, this is what it's going to be, and let's make it exist now. And if you're a musician, if you're an artist, if you're working in a company where you have a lot of passion for what you do, that's something that you just have to work on. If you listen to the FCMG podcast, we talk about that a lot. Motivation, passion, all those things, how they can make things difficult for you, how they can make things great for you, all kinds of stuff. We actually have a new episode out today. If you go to fcmg.buzzsprout.com, you'll be able to listen to my episode with Justin Mitchell, who is the guitarist or the vocalist, and the producer at Visionary, and the producer and recording engineer at King Studios. So we sat down and we chatted for an hour or so and went all through, his career, where he's been, where he is now, and his tips and tricks along the way, things that he's learned, lessons, stories, etc. So go check that out. Listen to that episode at some point. It's really interesting. We've been chatting with creative professionals and getting like a real wide variety of of just people to chat with. And I think that's been one of the most interesting things that we've been doing. I certainly gain a lot from just sitting down and chatting with friends, having that time to just dedicate to, all right, we're gonna talk now. We're gonna talk about work, and we're gonna talk about the things that we've been doing. It helps us kind of organize our thoughts, and I think it helps the people that listen too. We've been getting a pretty good response on different platforms, so that's pretty cool. All right, so I'm not seeing any questions about the video in particular, but as always, if you're watching this in a recorded version on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, you can always add a comment down below or find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, any of that stuff, and send us a message. I'm always happy to answer your questions. Like these live streams, I want them to be an AMA, so anyone can hop on and ask me anything about like photo, video, media, stuff like that. I do a lot of production. I'm a freelancer, and I'm always down to chat. I'm always down to hear your suggestions too. That's another thing. There's a suggestion box down below in Twitch, twitch.tv/FCMG_stay. If you add a suggestion down there about like the quality of the stream or anything like that, I'm always happy to take your suggestions. You can leave them anonymously. You can message us directly, whatever you want to do. Just the option is there. So we're going to start talking about LEDs in a second. I got a couple to show you, and there's one thing in common for all of them that makes them a really great option for doing exactly what we're doing. Let's see if you can figure it out by the end. I'll tell you at the end anyway, so. All right, so here we are. Alrighty, time to talk LEDs. Get a sip of water here. So there's been a huge surge in the photo video market in LED lighting. It used to be very, very expensive, just like HMI lights, just like tungsten, all that stuff. Basically nowadays they've dropped in price to the point where they're entry level lights. Getting ones before that were both high enough color rendering and diffused enough and didn't cast weird shadows, like that was actually really difficult for a long time. So it's now at the point where Chinese manufacturers and manufacturers overseas have the ability to sell redesigns of common products that they produce at their factories. So if I'm not mistaken, we're basically getting like knockoff versions of older, more expensive brands that no longer have like a monopoly on this market, or a monopoly on this design or whatever. And we're benefiting from all of these new LED lights that are coming out. The great thing about them is that they're very low power, so you can use small power supplies to power them. Basically, like this one above me, this is only on 20% power, and it's super bright. It's the brightest light in this room by far, and that only takes, I think, 12 volt input power. So that's, you plug it into a wall and you're good to go. If you have a battery that has an output for that, it's good. But these other lights, it means basically that you can use very small form factor batteries, attach them to these lights, and put them up anywhere. Some of them are super, super thin too, so you can like get this light, like here, I'll grab this one over here. I wasn't actually going to talk about this one. This is a good one to chat about though too. Okay, so this one's actually relatively old compared to my other lights. This is a Viltrox L132T. It's a very thin light, and it has this NPF battery thing, so you can stick a battery directly into it and power it on, and you're good to go. You can also do a 12 volt in. It's the same sort of power that light has up there. But let's grab a battery really quick, and let's see if we can show you what this looks like. All right, so relatively older. You stick that in there, you get this. This is like a giant version of one of these batteries. This is a NPF 970, I believe it's called, which is one of the largest sizes. It's basically 6 18650 sized batteries stacked up and wired in parallel, which means that they all get they increase the, or wait, parallel or series? I think it might be series because they all basically increase the capacity and not the power output. So it's 2 batteries in succession. That's the power output that you're getting, and then there's 2 extra sets of that for additional capacity. But you turn this on, and I believe this one's stuck on, or is it? Okay, yeah. So you can go from 3300 here, which is that's going to be a more warm daylight look, so you can see that there. And then you can move it, or sorry, warm incandescent look. So orange is not daylight. This is indoor light. So any sort of interior lighting is going to show up sort of orange like this. Meanwhile, if you balance it the other way, this is daylight. This is white light. So this matches the light that I have up there right now. So that's why you're seeing it as just sort of neutral white light. Otherwise, if I was balanced towards incandescent, it would show up as very blue. Not that blue, but pretty blue, like much more balanced towards the blue end of the spectrum. So yeah, this thing's great because it's very diffused, it's very soft, but it's not terribly powerful. I'll put it on full power here, and you'll get to see it. So that light again is only on 20%, so it's a large light. So this thing is still very bright. You know, you get some good like on-camera stuff, but it's not gonna blow out my highlights or anything like that. You get a good rim light with this guy. Nice soft edge. Look at that dramatic drama. So yeah, these little things are inexpensive. They're easy to use. I'm actually gonna look up the price of this right now, so I can give you an accurate here. Give you an accurate price. There we go. Words, they're difficult. Viltrox L132T. Okay, so this light, yeah, currently is $35. I think I bought it when it was closer to its price of $55. But there's like little things in it that kind of aren't that great. Like there's a little on-camera sort of adapter that goes here so you can have a hot shoe mount on this thing. That thing's terrible. I wouldn't even buy that thing. But the light itself is really good. Neewer apparently has a version of it. Or wait, no, they're just showing Neewer ads. Never mind. But yeah, you can get this thing. It comes with a little battery for $35. Awesome price, and it's pretty good color accuracy. Like it didn't make my skin look weird tones or anything like that, which some lights can do that. They can show up a little too green or too magenta. That's typically the balance that it goes between. All right. I'm still not getting any messages here, which is weird. I'm going to make sure that I'm showing up on Facebook really quick because I don't quite believe this is working correctly. Let's check it out. Okay. Well, I think it's saying that I'm live. It does show something there. Yeah, there we are. All right. So it is working. I'm going to share this thing. It's just, I don't think it's showing the, comments and stuff over here, which is restream.io, the restream chat, if you will. So I'm just going to share this to my page, and if you have any comments, if I'm not seeing them, go to twitch.tv/FCMGstay, and I'll be able to comment there. There we go. All right, posted that to the timeline. Hopefully some chat's gonna come through, and I'm just missing them here or something. But yeah, we're talking LED lights right now. I'm gonna take a sip of water because my throat is dry, and then we're gonna do something that I haven't done on this stream before, which I've done online a couple of times, but I've gotten some good responses to them. I'm going to try and do this on a fairly regular basis, maybe like once a month. But I am going to unbox something. We have a new LED light that just came in today. I've been working on getting some more cob lights, which are, instead of a wide array like this has a little diffuser panel on top of it, but basically it's just a bunch of tiny little beads. It's a single chip, just like that. So it's a small concentrated LED chip. I'll show you one in a minute, because we're going to get this little Wellspring light out here. Alrighty. Don't worry, I took off the address. You're not going to be able to see anything. Alright, so let's get this guy going. Alright, so this is a very small box, but it's a well-making LED. This is like I said, it's a cob LED. It actually is one of the exact same. Oh, well, it's more powerful than this one. This is a 12 watt RGB LED light that you're seeing. I should have kind of set this up after figuring out what I wanted to talk about today, because I did want to talk about that, but it's the same company. It's well making. It's got Bowens mount on the front, which is huge, and it's got a really, really cool little feature on it that I want to show off to you. So let's get this thing out of the box. Alrighty, I got nice little paperwork here. Take those out. Oh, cool. This one comes with a remote. Interesting. Groupings. Alright. So, right out of the box. Get the plastic off of it. Alrighty, so this is the light. This thing is tiny. For a cob light, for like a chip on board light like this, it's nothing. I'm gonna have to get a screwdriver to really show you what I want to show you, because I want to take this thing off and add the other mount that they have inside of there. But this is a nice lensed, it's called a Fresnel lens on the front. Nothing crazy, it's just lensed plastic, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it's not glass or anything like that. This is a plastic ring here. This is all plastic. The body's plastic. Like, it's a super, super lightweight little thing. It's got a fan built in and a little tiny video, like a little tiny screen right there. The best part is this right here, which is one of those NPF adapters. We're going to take this light and we're going to give it a shot really quick. So, this big sucker works right in here. We're going to turn it on. Oh, okay, so you just turn the one light, and look at that. Jesus. That's insane. Okay, so you can see it's heckin' powerful. Very, very powerful. It's one hell of a light. Get some nice lens flares with it too. Look at that. Oh god, beautiful. Alright, so the other thing you can do, you can diffuse it a little bit. You can dim it, which I'm going to need to do to show you any of the effects from this thing. All right, so let's take it down. This is 5%. 5% is still brighter than that Viltrox light. It is spotted. It is lensed, so it is going to be more powerful in that center spot. It has a little indoor balance card, so I can get more orange on there. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of doing that. We're just throwing off one of these things. Zach, yes, I did order this off of Amazon. Check out Wellspring. I'm gonna have some links down in the descriptions. If you'd be willing to wait, I would really appreciate it if you went through one of those links, because those are gonna be affiliate links. So I'll get a little tiny percentage of what Amazon makes, not out of what you pay. Doesn't cost you anything more. That'd be tight. But yeah, these little things are insane. It's I think this one is $120, which, for a light of this size, it takes a battery that's very inexpensive. It's going to last forever. Like, this battery will probably last it like 8 hours. I have other lights. You can put 2 on the back of them. They've gone for 12 hours before. So very high capacity NPF batteries. They're very inexpensive. You can get a set of 2 of them for about $25. Comes with a charger typically. Yeah, this it's crazy. For $120, you get some nice lens flares, got some nice sweet stuff. But yeah, we're gonna take this little mount off in a minute, and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about as to, God, that's bright. As to why this thing is so great. We'll click this off. Oh, and before we click it off completely, I'm gonna give you a listen on the fan. All of these Cobb LEDs, they have a fan on board so that it keeps them cool, because those chip LEDs are really hot. Like, they can get pretty dang hot. Not as hot as an HMI light. Those things, you can literally cook an egg on them. So those have like bigger fans. They're a lot more expensive lights, obviously. But this thing, a little fan in it, and this is what it sounds like. Honestly, if you don't have a microphone near it, you're not going to hear it. You're not going to hear this in an interview. It's quiet enough that you can stick it off to the side and you're not going to hear anything. But it's a super versatile light, and it's just like, this company's been blowing my mind. Oh, other cool thing is you can lens it directly on here. You screw this in, and then suddenly you've got a sharper point of light. So here, I'll do that this way. See what I mean? Wide light, sharp light, spotlight. Yeah, works out pretty cool. Powerful little thing. DLC for dinner. Oh, interesting. So, Buddy Subo just commented, we've been talking about a Witcher music video that we produced at Full Coverage Media Group. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It's by Visionary. Go to YouTube, search Visionary Witcher. You'll find it. So there's going to be a DLC theme for Dead by Daylight. Okay. I think I actually have that game. I should download that too. I'm getting my my whole library going again. All right. So I'll show you the other mount for this thing and why it's so important. I'm going to grab that other light. I'll just show you there. 2 seconds. I'll be back. Okay. So here's the other light. This is that one that I just showed you is a 40 watt. So that's got some serious power. It's it's only daylight. So you only get that white light like I was mentioning, but it does have those color filters on top of it. I would honestly say just get some colored gels. The accuracy is going to be much better than just like a piece of plastic like this. So this thing, you get one color and then up or down in power. That's the control that you get. Fantastic. Works great. I just pulled it out of the box too, and I'm that impressed by it. Okay. This guy is 18 watts on the actual like daylight setting. But it's also bi-color. So you can go here and then, all right, there's your power adjustment. But then here is your color adjustment. So look at, there's indoor, and there's daylight. See, it goes from white to orange. Very little, like, slight color shift. It's not a huge difference. But that's not what I would really use this light for. Personally, I would use it for these settings. The thing's RGB too. This light is also 120 bucks. It's about the same price as that 40 watt boy. But you can do all kinds of different colors with it. It's an HSL, which is hue, saturation, and luma type of slider. So you're doing the degrees of the color. It means you get all kinds of really great color options for very inexpensive. Again, you can lens this guy, so you can extend that if you want. But the real power in these lights comes from, let's get this back on red. Do 360 is what we want. All right. So the real power in these lights is when you start using this Bowens mount attachment. You basically just have to unscrew the front lens, and then you put the other included mount into onto the front of this thing. The one that I just got has all the same parts, so it's gonna have that included. Links on your page of products you use and approve of. I do have a FCMG gear list. It's on my Amazon account. You can find it if you go on YouTube and you look at any of these live streams. The past versions, I always include that. Check out our favorite gear link. If you go there, you're going to be able to see a bunch of gear that I use, and I'll be adding new stuff like this to that list very soon. I do want to have affiliate links up on there soon. That's what I've been working on. I have an affiliate account. I just haven't shared a lot of those links. But you'll be able to find the affiliate links for these well-making lights in the bottom of this video probably tomorrow. I just got to remember to get these things in there. I've been trying to do a whole lot at once. That's the life of a freelance producer. But here, I'll show you these Bowens mounts. The mount has such capability that you can add like really high-end photo stuff to it, and yet a lot of the attachments are really inexpensive. So I'll show you one of my favorite attachments right now. It's a little tiny globe. Basically, it's just a plastic ball with this type of three-pronged mount. You can kind of see it on the edge there. But it turns this into a glowing orb, and you get this really nice, soft, rounded light from it. You get some really nice catch lights in people's eyes. Like if I were to change this over to like a daylight, you'll be able to see. I'm going to pull this in too. That nice big round orb in my eyeball. You see what I mean? It's a little weird to be staring this deeply into my eyes, but you get the picture. Okay, so let's get this. All right. So yeah, this thing, it's super versatile, and then you can put like crazy big stuff on it. Like there's a softbox that I have out there that's 30 centimeters, and it's a giant ball like this. So you get this big round thing. It's what I use to light the FCMG podcast. If you go to YouTube, you can find that there. Watch a couple episodes because it's really cool. And yeah, we definitely have, we're going to have links on this stuff soon. I'll also have that posted on the website as well. We have kind of our favorite gear listed there, but I want to have some links so that you can go through and pick stuff. And if you want to actually buy these things, you can help us out by purchasing them through those links. It doesn't cost you anything, but Amazon does give us a little bit of a cut because we're bringing them a customer. So that would be fantastic if you could do that. But I'll make those links available soon so that you can make that happen. So yeah, this thing, just incredible. And they have like there's the 40 watt light, but I think there's also a 20 watt, and there is an 80 watt as well, and that's only $200. An 80 watt Cobb LED light that comes with power and takes NPF batteries like this. I've never heard of that before. This is the only company that I've seen so far that does like Cobb and NPF batteries, and it's just a great combo. Like they're really powerful little batteries. They're really inexpensive, and you can slap them on some really cool lights. I'm going to put this light back so that we have some nice lighting up in here again. And then I'll be back to show you some more lights. We got some GVM panels coming up, which I think are going to be some pretty cool ones. And then we got some Yongnuo lights to talk about too. Those are two brands that I've been using for a while, and I've really enjoyed their products. Beautiful. One last attachment for these lights. The front of these are lensed, but you can add more lenses to them. So this is a Fresnel Bowens mount. Big old lens on the front of that. You can see it kind of concentrates the light a little bit. If I put this on here, tighten it down. Oh, I'd have to put a battery in there too. That would make sense. Now you get very, very pointed directional light. You can even make it more directional by extending this guy. Very pointed directional light. And it actually makes the light a little bit more powerful. So having that lens on the front of an additional lens adds to your power. It's great. Alrighty. Easy as that. All right. Next to our other good, inexpensive options. I'm going to pull up some prices on them quick. And if I can find it. Okay, so you can get Fresnel lenses for the front of cameras for about, I'm seeing about $50. I think this is the one that I got. And our nice photo FD110. It's $69 and there's a 5% coupon code on it right now. So you can even save some money on it. Yeah, get giant soft boxes. You get things like this for $50, $100 here and there, and so you can really change your ability to light your subjects with just a little addition of, you know, a new softbox or something like that. But another type of spotlight that I found that works really well is by this company Yongnuo. These little guys have been going with me on almost every shoot in the last couple of months. YN216. Any shoots that I've been doing that have included like interviews or anything like that, I've used these. These are fantastic little lights. You can get ones that are adjustable color temperature. The ones that I got are the YN216s, the non-adjustable. They're 5600K, so they're daylight, which means white light. And they have this little NPF thing on the front. They also, which I think is really cool. If I can open the little, there we go. They take AAA batteries too. So you can put little AAA batteries in this thing and it'll last for a hell of a long time. It has a battery gauge directly on it, so you can see how much is left in your battery. In fact, let's show it to you right now. But the difference with this is that it's focused LED points. So you actually get a lot of power. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're at full battery right now. You can see on the back of this thing, the lights kind of show you how full it is when you press the button. Otherwise, they show you how powerful the light is. You can kind of see them changing there a little bit. But yeah, this thing has a sweet little array. If you look, there's beads on the front of this. all of these are little LED beads, and yeah, they're arranged in a pattern so they can fit as many as 216 in there, as many as they can, basically. It's got these little kind of barn doors. Honestly, they don't do too much. You can focus the light a little bit, but because there's such wide openings between there, it's not going to be a crazy, it's not going to like block everything by any means. You're not going to be able to do like a tube of light, anything like that. But what you can do with these that I love so much is you can backlight the heck out of people. So like just a little, angle this or something. Yeah, I would have to turn it way down. But yeah, just like that. Just that little difference from there. So you've got a dark background on them. Your subject is kind of falling into the background. You want to make them stand out a little bit. Just give them a little whoop. Look at that. Beautiful. It works so great. Honestly, like I should set these up and have them just sitting over there. But I use them on shoots all the time. So they come in so handy that it's not worth it to even take them out of my car. So they end up living in there and doing a lot of great work. Really inexpensive spotlights, and they come with little gels that you can put on top of them. So here, I'll grab a couple of those. Whew. All right, that was close. Alrighty, so I'm dropping stuff now. Yeah. Put the Okay. Apparently they like to run away. So these come with a couple of different of these things. This is a blue one, so you're going to be able to get blue light. This looks pretty cool. You put it in tab facing up, pop it in, spin it a little bit, and you're good to go. Now all of a sudden you got a blue light. Oh, it's great. And you'll kind of notice that the color looks a little bit different on me than it does like that giant light in the background or this one. The colors are gonna show up a little bit differently on skin tones because you're not producing blue light. You're producing white light that's being passed through a blue filter, which gives you very different color accuracy. These LEDs behind me that are RGB, it's a red light that's emitting or a blue light that is emitting. It's not a white light bulb and then a blue filter or a red filter. So you're actually not getting very accurate color rendition. So like if you point that red light on a person, or if you point it on like an apple and a picnic table and like a bunch of red things, and then you film it, it's going to look way different than if you film it with a white light that has a red gel on top of it. I'm not sure if I can really demonstrate that on camera directly here. But if I were to set up some objects and show you the difference between an RGB light and a gelled light, like here's the red filter on there. Not super red, but it's also pretty not bright. Like I could hit behind me with that, and you can see this little light is decently bright. These things kind of take off a lot of their power. See, when I go like that, it's just way more powerful. But again, it works in a more accurate way. So gelling something like this is going to be more accurate than one of those RGB lights behind me. But you're only going to notice that in really specific situations. So if you're not directly lighting your subject with RGB, they're still going to look fine. And even if you do, in most cases, like people aren't going to notice that, oh, hey, that red isn't actually showing up as red, because they don't know what your set looks like. But if you're really going for accuracy, you got to do either an RGBWW light or gels, which gels are cheap. So that's great. But here, let me show you another, speaking of RGB, another Yongnuo light here. Oh, there's two of them in here. So I really like these lights. I tend to use them on photo shoots more than anything. Sometimes on video shoots, but they're really not as powerful as I would like them to be. So they work better for stills where I can expose in camera. But this is a Yongnuo YN360. This is the first version. This is not version 2. I don't know if there's more than that, but let's look this up. Let's see how much it is. Okay, so version 2 is $132, which I personally think is way too expensive for this light. Version 1 is $85. And what do you know? It's got that NPF mount on it. It's fantastic. So you put this little thing on here. Version 2, by the way, is it's rechargeable, so it comes with a built-in battery. If that battery dies for any reason, you're out of luck. Your light is gone. It might be more powerful, it might have more effects, all that stuff, but I really like these. So what you do is you press and hold, and you'll get RGB color out of these things. You can adjust your levels of R, G, and B independently, which isn't as great as being able to just cycle through. Let's see here. So there's red. You can add green. You can add blue. And then if you want to, you can switch over to daylight and incandescent balance. And again, you adjust each of those accordingly. So if you just want indoor balance, that's what it looks like. It's a little bit yellow for my taste. It's not quite orange. Let's do this one. All right, so then we turn up daylight. We'll turn down this, and that's pretty good daylight. It's decent. The color rendering index on these lights is not that great though. So in my opinion, they're best as an RGB light. Mixing all three of the RGB colors is going to give you basically daylight. Again, it's much more like there's more blue in it. There's more of specific colors, but you can do some really nice like little accents. It's nice and wide. It's easy to hand hold and like hold it with one hand and then take photos with your other. Like can look like a lightsaber. It's a fun light. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with it, and it even comes with an orange gel on there, which you can use sometimes. It does cut down on the power output, obviously, any type of gel like that. But it's just this sweet little magnet thing on the back. It's great. I love these lights. There was another YouTuber that I saw talking about these. I'll see if I can link the video down in the comments below or something like that. But yeah, just these things work out great. You can fit two of them in a little bag right next to each other. Take up very little space. They both come with their own bags, but honestly, you can fit two in one of those bags. So that's what I've been doing. So that's those are Yongnuo lights. Those are the ones that I have. I've heard of the YN, I think it's the 300. Let's see here. Yeah, the YN 300s, the 600, and they now have a YN 1200. I've heard that those are extremely powerful for the price. Who is it? Gerald Undone talks about them. If you haven't found Gerald Undone, you're watching this channel. You should go watch him. He does really in-depth reviews and like breakdowns on things. It's called Undone because he unravels a topic, and it's awesome to watch. Yeah, so those YN 1200 is $187, which I think for that amount of power, like a 300 or a 600 is very powerful. You can get a YN, wow, okay, geez. A YN 300 is $60, which is way more powerful of a light than that. It's 5600K balance only. It's not bi-color or anything, I don't think. So you get a lot of power because all 600 or all 300 beads in that are one color temperature. You're not doing half daylight and half indoor. That's cool stuff. They got some good things these days, I tell you. Again, though, I'm just a big fan of those well-making lights. They've been working out really well, and I'm planning on bringing those as my my sort of go-to lights for interviews now, because I have a Godox. It's actually right there. That light right there is a Godox 60 watt chip on board light. It's very, very powerful. You have to plug it into a wall though. It doesn't have any battery battery stuff. I bought a camp battery to try and power those things, and it only powers it for an hour. This is a very big battery, and I don't think I'd even be able to take the battery on a plane, but it doesn't have enough output to just run those lights for that long. So you only get an hour at full blast with 2 lights into that thing. And it's, you know, it's a 300 watt output or something on there. 200 watt, I think. But yeah, having some battery powered stuff with high powered batteries is, in my opinion, so much better than having to worry about, like, okay, you know, I'm going to plug it into a camp battery and all these extra things, because it's just like the voltage and the amperage and the wattage might be slightly different. So you could get a battery that says, oh, it's going to work for 10 hours. And then you plug it in and it works for 45 minutes and the battery shuts off. But that's the differences in those little things. If they're not all matched accordingly, then it can be really rough to figure stuff out. You have to test it in that case. But with these, they've already got it, you know, built into the light. You can just slap an NPF in there and they know that it's going to work. It's got a little battery gauge on there. It's got, you know, they have things built in to work directly with those, which is, I just love it. And we got some more lights. GVM. This is one of my favorite companies. We're going to do 2 more lights from GVM, and we're going to have one last one from Neewer. I haven't used any of the other Neewer lights. Neewer is one of the most inexpensive brands on the internet when it comes to lights like that. And there's some good things and some bad things about their lights that I've experienced with just the one that I've gotten so far. But I got 2 of them, so they must be okay. All right, I'm going to grab some GVM lights, and we'll show you those quick. Alrighty. So, GVM, which stands for Great Video Maker. They're a company that I started buying. It was like the first LEDs that I bought. Actually, these ones. I ended up getting 2 of them, and that panel. I can't stretch that way. That panel right there. That panel is an RGB 50 watt version of these. These are 512S's, which are 512 beads. So that's 256 daylight, 256 indoor. Comes with a power supply, comes with barn doors built into it. You gotta flip the yoke around. It has a yoke, which is very, very handy. You can set these lights up on stands either this way or like that. So you can either get more height or more distance to get closer to your subject. Comes with these barn doors, which I like a lot. I think they're really good barn doors as far as I've seen on like brands like this. Like a lot of them, they have 2 big gaps and stuff, but you can actually focus these down. You can put them basically against each other. You still get these little areas where you can get light leaks, but you know, put some black wrap around it and you're gonna be fine. If you really need it to be that focused. And they come with diffusion panels built in. So this little panel slides right out, and then you can see the bare bulbs in the light. Again, like I said, there's 256 daylight bulbs in here, and there's 256 indoor balance bulbs. And together they're real powerful. You set this thing to a color temperature that you like. It's not perfectly accurate. Like the middle on this light is about 4,500, and the middle on the other one that I bought with it is about 4,400. So give or take about 100 degrees Kelvin. But otherwise, these things, you can match them really easily. They're going to look fantastic. And again, they have spots for NPF batteries right here. So this is your little command center. Basically, you're going to pop one on here. I got my other one over here. Pop these 2 lights in. It comes with a DC input, so you can plug it in and power it from the wall. And then you're going to flip the switch to either DC or power that you're using. And then you got this big boy powerful light right here. So this is full intensity on full indoor. So that's going to be super powerful on me, obviously. But, you know, you point it towards the background, you're going to get some decently focused light because I have it on there. But this is with no diffusion. It's, you know, really lighten up that background. If I switch it to all the way to daylight balance, we're going to get some pretty dang accurate color. The thing with these lights is they're very high color rendering. So when it comes to lighting up your subjects, you're going to get very accurate flesh tones. You're going to get accurate reds and blues and all that stuff. See, like this is very, very well balanced, like very accurate light. They do make panels that are RGB for these. The RGB panels are pretty expensive. I'm going to look them up right now because their prices have changed since I first got these. When I first bought these lights, I think they were about $300 a piece, which in terms of like powerful lights, that's cheap. That's very inexpensive, especially at the time. But nowadays you can get, let's see if I can find the 512S's. I think they call them the Master Series now. If I'm not mistaken, that's because of the... no, okay, so they don't have them on there. I think that's because of the color rendering on them. It's super accurate, so people have liked these lights and the things that you can do with them. I'm going to put this on this shoulder. Okay, so let's go into their profile GVM. Yeah, okay, so Master Series light, it's 520, not the 512, sorry. So it's 260 beads. Yeah, all right, wow. Okay, those are much less expensive than when I first bought them. Dang. So you can get 3 of these for $500 now. It was about $300 a piece before. 2 lights is $320. You can get a couple of these, and you can get them in the green like this too, which is pretty cool. I think the 3-pack and the 4-pack, you'll get the greens. So it looks like they don't sell the individuals anymore. But yeah, they've got some really, really powerful lights that they've been coming out with. Like they have the 50 watt, the GVM 50 RS is this one right over. Whatever, you'll see it. It's right there, the blue one. That is the 50 RS. It's on 25% output right now, so that's a quarter of what it can do. That light is $239, which is the price that I got it at. It also does bicolor. It's also very high color rendering index. It also has these NPF battery mounts. Also, that light and these lights will work with the same remote control. If I'm not mistaken, you can also use the app on your phone for some of these. Some of them have app control, but these in particular, they have, there's a little remote that comes with them that, they have controls on the back where you can set one as the master and then the rest as slave, and you can group them into, I think it's 8 groups total. So 8 different groups with as many lights as you want to add into there. You can do whole arrays of things. It's really good if you want to be able to control like 15 lights with one. You change the settings on here, all of those settings change. You move it to a different channel, you can change the settings on this, and nothing changes on those. They're very, very powerful lights, very high rendering index, and like here, I'll show you with both LEDs on. Yeah, this one's about 4,200K. You get a lot of power with this thing. So it's very powerful, very accurate color rendering. Honestly, I just love these. The diffusion on them's great. There's another diffusion panel that comes with them. Tons and tons and tons of stuff that you can do. But they also have 110 watt RGB light for about $700. They've got these big, like they have the cob lights that are also RGB, 150 watt RGB light. It also does bicolor. That's about $400. So they have some really, really cool options. And then this thing, I was actually looking at this. They have this, they've been putting out ads for this thing. It's a ring light, but it also has like a bunch of offshoots, like a star pattern. It's the GVM 600S. It's a 90-watt bicolor LED ring light with detachable light bars. I think the best thing with GVM is that all of their lights are 97 plus CRI. A lot of companies do 96, some even do 95. And when you start to fall below 96, I find it's like you can't really use it for pointing the light at a person. Just doesn't work that way. So let's get this guy put away. There's one more GVM light that I wanted to show you. And then I finally have that one from Neewer, which is pretty cool, but a little bit weird. You'll see why. Okay, so this was one of the more recent lights that I got. I bought this right before buying the 50 RS, that light. I wanted to test out how good GVM's RGB stuff was. So I got this little thing. This is the 10 RS. Or 10S, I think. GVM 10S. Yeah, okay, here we are. This thing is $60. It's RGB, it's bicolor, it's app controlled. I don't think you can control it with the other lights, but I mean, app control, you pull out your phone and you just adjust it how you want it. And again, takes that NPF mount. So you stick a light in there. This has a little diffusion filter on there. You can see all the beads right on it. So let's go like this. Let's kick this boy on. Turn it on. We are at 100% brightness, 5600K. So that should be daylight. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. It's nice diffused. It's this little tiny light you can put on top of your camera. It's very portable. It's super, super light itself. And it's nice and diffused. Even when you take these off, it's still pretty diffused. It's a little bit sharper. But this thing obviously lowers the amount of light that's coming out of it. This is 100% output right now. But it is bicolor. So you can adjust this and make it indoor balance, and it goes pretty darn orange. More orange than those other lights, if you ask me. This is 3200K. 56 to 3200. Right in the middle, we're going to look at the 4200K. This is as powerful as it goes. This is with the diffusion on there. So it's a pretty powerful little light. But then you start getting into stuff like this. You can switch it into HSL mode. So you're getting hue, saturation, and luma. You can change your colors here. You can change your saturation, which is really cool. You can do the same thing with the big 50 RS. You can change saturation and luma, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so here's saturation. So you can take it from like 100% saturated down to, what is this? This is 0% saturation. So it's basically just white bulbs. So it just balances out the bulbs that are on. Turn the saturation back up, and you're back to blue. There is a bit of a jump there at that last, I think that's a 10% mark. That's a 5%. So that's supposed to be a 5% difference, but you ask me, that's like a 20% difference right there. Yeah, so you can do hue and saturation. Not quite luma, but that's basically your brightness. So you adjust that and you're good. Does dim down completely, which I like about this light. But it's a big jump from 0 to 5. I think that's what it is. Yep, 0 to 5%. Boom. But pretty cool. You know, you can add this in as like a little bit of a kicker light. I've used this in interviews. You shoot it up at a wall, and you can, you know, just add a little element for yourself that you wouldn't have had there otherwise. So you can remove some distracting elements by adding RGB lighting like this. They make a stand for that one. All of these have what's called a 1/4-20 screw mount in them. So you can take like a little tripod and attach it. You can see like even this one, which has, this is like a hot shoe mount for a camera where you slide it into the actual part of the camera. That has a little quarter 20 right in the bottom. All those big lights, they have quarter 20s or heads to stick on light stands. So you could mount it just with a quarter 20, but they also have like Neewer makes light stands that are very inexpensive. I get their 9-foot stands and they've been working great. Light stands. All right, Neewer light stands. I mean, they're professional heavy duty like steel ones, which is what I have here. It's called a C stand. Those are $145, which is like, okay, that's expensive, but that's really inexpensive for a C stand. They're great C stands too. I've got 3 of them. They're 9-foot stands. You get 2 of them for $55. So these are big, heavy duty aluminum stands. They're not the steel C stands, but they are lighting stands. They're built to fit with these lights, and they have a little tiny quarter 20 thread on top. So you can screw one of these onto there and you can stick it all the way up at 9 feet tall. This thing also comes with a little articulating arm. You screw it onto there. It's a lot like that Viltrox light where it's not that great of a mount, but you can also grab like little ball mounts for tripods that are quarter 20 that are $15. You can grab anything that screws in with a 1/4-inch screw and you'll be able to work it with this. Thanks for the comment, Zach. I really appreciate you jumping in on the chat here. A lot of the time I'm just sort of chatting to myself, so it's it's good to have someone actually involved. Yeah, and again, all of these lights so far that I've talked about, they all take these NPF batteries. So I've been getting the DSTE ones. Let's take a look at the cost of those. NPF. So there's 550, 750, and I think it's 970, or is it a 950? 970, I think is what it is. Yeah, okay. NPF 970, Bonacell, Power Extra, I've used before. The ones that I typically get are DSTE. You get 2 of them for $39, which is nothing. Neewer makes a 2-pack. They're 6,600 milliamps. Yeah, this one from DSTE is 7,900 milliamps, 58.5 watt hours, and you get 2 of them for $39. So that literally means that you can run a light on these things. Like that GVM light will run for 10 hours at full output with 2 of these little batteries. Normally to do that, you have to buy something called a V mount or a gold mount battery. I'm just going to look up a price on on Amazon for one of those. Let's look up V mount, which I think is less expensive. V mount battery. Okay, so 190 watt hours, 12,800 milliamps. So the 2-pack of these, $39. You're getting 7,900 times 2. That's 15,800 milliamps. 15,800 milliamps with these 2 batteries for $39. For $179, you can get a 12,800 milliamp battery. It has higher voltage output. It has more kind of attachments and all that stuff. Yeah, there's great reasons for it. But like for example, there's another brand here. I can't really even see what brand it is. I think it's just new. It's a 95 watt hour, so 6,600 milliamp, which is less than this single battery. For $100 is a V mount battery. It comes with some extra stuff. It's really cool, but like it's just so expensive. Like when you buy these more expensive lights, you're gonna have to get more expensive batteries. You're gonna have to get more expensive mounts. You're gonna have to get more expensive stands. Like everything gets more expensive. So it's the same issue that I have with like people talking about cameras and suggesting cameras to people. Everyone seems to suggest, oh, get full frame, get blah blah blah, and it's like most professionals don't need full frame cameras. I don't shoot with a single full frame camera, and I've been working as a professional for 7 years now. There's really good quality that you can get. You can shoot 4K on a 6K sensor for under $1,000 with an APS-C camera, so a crop sensor camera. It's a slightly smaller sensor. But when you buy those like full frame cameras, the lenses are more expensive, the batteries are more expensive, the lights that go with them are more expensive. Like everything is a higher price point just because you got convinced to buy that full frame camera. There are benefits to full frame cameras, but I don't think that they outweigh the price jump of getting there. So yeah, that's why I shoot with APS-C cameras. This is an A6400 that you're seeing me through. That's a $900 camera, I think, which when it comes to like cinema level stuff is like dirt cheap. Yeah, anyway, let's keep talking lights here. I gotta get some more coffee in my system because I'm obviously not riled up enough. And then we're gonna chat about this last light, which actually takes a V-mount battery like that. I'll grab it for you. Okay, so this is Neewer. Neewer makes some really awesome stuff. If you go and listen to the FCMG podcast, I've got an episode with Jake Boyer, who is a professional that I've worked with at PBS before, and he does editing, he does short films, he does all kinds of stuff like that. Him and I have talked about Neewer a couple times, and it's the type of thing where like they're not the best quality, but if you know how to use their products and you put them to use in careful ways, they're going to do great things for you. So this is a how many lights are in this guy? I think it's like a 1520, 1320. All right, so let's look this light up really quick. Neewer 1320. All right, so this is about the same cost as those Wellspring lights. It's $139, but you get a save 20 coupon. So you end up getting it for a little bit less than those lights. About the same price, about $120. So this is obviously a wider panel. It's much wider source of light that you're going to be shooting from, and you can kind of see, if I can get this thing off of here. There we go. You can see there's tons of beads inside. It's just this little diffusion panel that slips out. By the way, if you don't have these diffusion panels on when you're shooting a subject or shooting a film, you're going to get tons of little shadows stacking up on each other. I'll show you what I mean later. It's a really odd effect, but it's something that only these multi-bead panels kind of are subject to. So typically on the back, there's this, which is a V-mount plate, which I find kind of interesting because it's about $120 for this light, but for a V-mount battery, it's about $120. So you have to spend double to just get a battery for this thing. Instead, sorry about that. Amazon did this great thing, and they suggested another Neewer part to me, which is an NPF to V-lock, that guy, adapter. So I can take this now and just slide this into here. There we go. All right, that locks in nice and tight. And now I can take my batteries and lock them in here. It's a little bit finicky. There we go. You got to angle them in right. And then you can hit the, once they're both in, I guess that completes the circuit. There we go. Once they're both in, you can check your power. You see that right there. Looks like we're full. Sweet. And then you can crank this boy on. Again, it comes with a power adapter, so you can put 15 volt, 12 to 15 volt power directly into it. But let's switch it this way, and then we get our light. So this panel has 2 dimmers on it, and if I'm not mistaken, they're for each grouping of daylight or incandescent balance, indoor or outdoor light, basically. You can see this panel is super powerful. It's crazy how powerful this thing is. I'll show you on me. It's just going to completely, like, I'm just not here anymore. This is the going up to heaven shot. So very, very powerful light. But the problem is it's not very color accurate. So, like, do you see how yellow that is? I don't like this light for lighting people. Don't like it on subjects. The daylight balance is a lot better. Oh. I'll turn. Okay, so this is the there's the yellow. And then here is the white. I'm going to turn this down so it's a little bit more forgiving. The white is okay. Like, it's pretty good. It's not great. I still think that there's a little yellow cast to it. But mainly I use this light as just like, okay, I need a hell of a lot of light. Like, say the whole background needs to be lit up. Like, you just put this behind someone and it's boom, everything's there. Yeah, makes a big difference. Not crazy expensive. You get a lot of power out of these for very little money, but not a lot of accuracy. So they're less expensive than those 512s, but they're more than double the power. 520s, sorry. But they're more than double the power. You can put NPF mount batteries in them with this adapter, which I think the adapter was like $15. Let's take a look quick. Newer NPF to V mount. Okay. Yeah, $20. Okay. $20, couple batteries, and you're good to go. Newer does have some inexpensive V mount batteries. It's like $125 for 150 watt hours. So at least the price is under the watt hours. But yeah, you're still just getting way more power if you get those NPF batteries. I don't think that their voltage is quite as high, so you might not get as high an output on this, but I think it's the difference between like 90% and 100%. Like, it's a very little difference for a very big cost difference. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about in terms of lights. I got some more stuff coming out. Yeah, Zach, you can see what yeah, thank you for following, by the way. Scheimer tracks, but Zach, I appreciate it. Thank you for the comments and all that stuff. I would have to agree on the yellow. Yeah, so it definitely has like a more of like a yellow tint to it. I find that's because there's more green in the LEDs, and if you take orange and you add a little bit more green, it starts to look yellow. Obviously, it's just how color balance works. All right. Well, we had something else fun to talk about. Oh, I gotta try this out too. Those well making lights apparently have remote control. Didn't know that before, which is really cool. So I'm gonna check that out later today. All right. So there's one more thing that I wanted to show you, but it's gonna take some kind of setup to make that happen. I want to show you Russian lenses. I don't really have a subject to shoot or anything like that, so I'm just gonna pull out the FS5. I'm going to slap some Russian lenses on there, and I'm going to show you, I don't know, I might use the actual shot of my my desk here as the image. So, like, you can kind of see how sharp they are and what kind of things they do with light sources, because there's a light facing directly at us. Russian lenses are very inexpensive. They're kind of difficult, but you can get greater sharpness sometimes than you can with modern lenses. So depending on the one that you get, how scratched it is, how much dust or mold might have accrued on the inside. There's all kinds of reasons to check these things out, but the price point again is just tiny. And because mirrorless cameras are now a thing, you don't have to account for about this much extra space between the lens mount and the sensor. So because we have that extra room, we can put adapters there. Those adapters then put these old lenses at the right spot, the right distance away from your sensor of your camera, and they can do some incredible things. So I'm going to grab the A6500 actually, because I'm talking about using them on mirrorless cameras. And then I should be able to show you, I might be able to show you both at the same time. We might get a little weird here. Let's give it a shot. I'm going to put on some music for you because who knows how long this is going to take. But yeah, I'll be back. I'll mute my microphone while I set up, and I'll keep an eye out for comments in the side, and I'll leave a little chat box as we're listening to stuff. Let's see here. Okay, let's go like that. Okay, so we're back now. I just got this little camera set up. I've got currently, like, if you saw that lens that we just switched to, this is a Laowa 9mm f2.8. So this is a modern lens. It's not a Russian lens yet. I just wanted to give you some kind of context, just to show you what we're looking at here. It looks like my video sync is a little bit choppy right now. I'm not sure exactly what's going on that. I think it might be our picture profile. Let's try just turning that profile off, see if it, nope, it doesn't fix it. Okay. Just making some quick adjustments here to make sure that we have the smoothest possible video coming out of this thing. It might be 1080 that I'm going to have to do this in. Oh, here you go. You get to see my settings. Sweet. Let's give this a shot back here, and then I can kind of figure out from there. Actually, no, I can't. I can't see the screen right now. Okay, so we're going back to 4K. We're going to see what, oh, all right. You can see my settings. Weird. Okay, up to 4K. I wonder if adjusting the bit rate of the video is going to help. Nope, doesn't seem to have done much of anything. Okay, so we're just going to take a look at the looks of these lenses, because these lenses are very interesting. Even if we're not actually seeing like real-time video through this thing. Just didn't get this set up beforehand, that's all. All right, so one of the first lenses I'm going to take a look at, you'll be able to see it in comparison to that 9mm lens. Let's take a look at what we have. We have a couple lenses here. This is the Mir 1B, MIR 1B. It's a 2.8mm 37 or 2.8 f2.8 37mm lens. It comes in this cool little case where the back cap is actually like built in. It's the screw top for the case. So you get it in a case like this. It's sort of like a jewel case. You can unscrew it from here. That is a M42 mount, if I'm not mistaken, which means a 42mm threaded mount on the back. So it's an actual like screw-on lens. Let's grab this thing. All right, so you can screw it right into your adapters here, like so. Let's take off our front cap. These lenses are very interesting. There's some cool stuff that you can do with them. The front lens, I'm not sure if you can quite see that. Let's switch this over to make it real close up here. All right, so here you can see the front element of this lens is very rounded. It's super, it's called globular. But there's a way to change this into a globular lens. You don't, like, as it is right now, it's going to look pretty normal. But if you were to take off that front thread of the mount, remove everything that's obstructing that lens and holding that lens in, you can take the front lens off of this and flip it upside down, which will give you, it's called exploding bokeh. So all of the blurred out elements in the background will look very like pulled out. It looks really, really cool. But I'll give you an example of what this lens looks like right now. We're gonna flip this off of here. You know what? It might be in our output settings here. You know what? Whatever. We've got it good enough. You'll be able to see it, so I can't complain. All right, so we're gonna take this lens off of here. It's gonna expose our sensor for a second. Don't leave those sensors out as long as you can. And really, when you do that, you should lower the sensitivity on your camera as well. All right, so you're gonna see it is a much tighter lens, because while it is a 37 millimeter, I'm going to switch to it right now. While it is a 37 millimeter lens and it looks fantastic, it's 37 millimeters on full frame, if I'm not mistaken. So I get that this video is very choppy, but we're going to try and kind of like, I'm going to show you some different elements here. This is about as close as it can focus. So we're going to go up, we're going to see some light in the lens. We're going to go past here. All right, so look at that. You can see some serious flaring there. So you get all kinds of color effects and whatnot. Oops, sorry. Bouncing this camera around a little bit. And it definitely has some like color casts to it. I have picture profile off right now. So you're just getting directly out of camera the look that this lens has. All right, so we're going to focus as close as we possibly can. And I'll show you the, yeah, so that's basically our minimum focusing distance is about, I think it's just under a meter. Yeah, 0.7 meters away. So other lenses are going to start to have trouble with that to actually like get the framing correctly. But let's put this up. I'll adjust it so that you can see me in there, and then you'll be able to get an idea of what it looks like in a portrait setting. Okay. Do this, and let's tilt this thing back to about there. I'll move in. All right. So as you can see, it's a very interesting lens. There's a lot of character to it. I probably have to yell. There's a lot of character to this lens. You can get some really cool looks from it. Let's move this so you're a little more flattened out. You can get a lot of cool looks out of it. Sorry about the choppy video. That's just it's because we're going through a bunch of different things. I believe it's because we're going through a splitter cable that it's not quite working well. But you get some really interesting effects with this lens, and you'll see as I walk further into the background just how the defocused elements look. And I'm gonna bring this little cob light with me so that I can show you how some lens flares look. All right, so defocus is real quick, and it's got this kind of cool look to it. It's very, very soft in the background. You can see like this light right here, how it pulls the light out on the sides. It gives you almost a almost like an anamorphic effect. So focus this a little bit further back. Oh, that's our aperture because it's manual everything. So we're going to leave it just about there. It's about focused on the chair. I'm going to pop this battery in here. And let's take a look at some light flares. So if you see what I mean, there's some really intense flaring that you can get when you point a light just off to the side of these lenses. You know, I might even have... I was looking for a flashlight so I could show you something a little bit more pointed. Yeah, so you get these just powerful, powerful lens flares. And in my opinion, that looks great. You get some really interesting character with lenses like this. That lens, I got it on eBay, and I'm gonna look up the actual person I got it from because they're really cool and I like the things that they do. Alrighty. Okay, so we're gonna look in here. I have a bunch of messages back and forth with this person. Basically, I got in touch with someone. Her name's Abigail. She lives in Russia, the Ukraine. She does awesome stuff. She's very, very forgiving when it comes to, like, you know, you having a bunch of questions and all this stuff. The eBay handle is Avigeya 1975. So AVIGEYA 1975. You can find her, she's from Volinskaya in the Ukraine. You can find her on eBay. She has 100% positive feedback. She's great at getting stuff out quickly, on time, all that jazz. Excuse me. And she has a huge stock of really, really cool lenses. So let's take a look in her seller account. We'll see the prices of these lenses quick. Alrighty. Senator M. Let's visit her store. I'm gonna add a link to her store down in the bottom. 1B. All right, so the rare version of the Mir 1 Grand Prix for an M39 mount, which I have another version of this lens, or no, that's the Helios 44. The 1M or the one Mir 1 is $55 or best offer, $15 for shipping. So you can get this thing for like $75, which is nothing, or like $70, which is nothing for a lens of this type of sharpness and clarity. You get some really, really nice images through it, and you can also do really artistic stuff. I think that's my favorite part about it, is the actual character of the lenses, how it adds to the stuff that you're filming, and it does things that you can't really do in post. Like, you could, but it would take you forever to get it done. Like, if you were gonna map, like, every time someone's light gets within like 15 degrees of looking directly at the camera, that there's going to be a certain type of lens flare and it's going to work this way and it's going to have this effect when it's in this area. Like, doing all that is an insane amount of work. So like, I don't know how people do that. The cool part with these lenses is you can actually get speed boosters to make them to reduce the focal length. This one it'll fit a full frame lens, a full frame camera. So let's actually let's do a little switch here. No, I'm gonna adjust this for a second. This thing needs to be tightened down. Alrighty. That's gonna be about as good as we can get it. Yeah, I don't have anything handy right now to tighten this guy up, but okay, I'm gonna put this back in here. I just already unscrewed it, basically. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at this now with a focal reducer on there, which is an actual lens element. So there's more glass inside of it, which can cause some issues on some lenses. It can just have a bit of an odd effect. Maybe different flares, think they would be good for wildlife shooting. All right, so here's the thing. If you know that, like, say you have I don't know, like a feed trough or something, like you feed animals, or there's a bird feeder outside, and you know that your subject is going to be at that bird feeder. If you can pick your focus and pick where you are focusing, these are pretty fast lenses. 2.8 is like there's high-end professional lenses that are f2.8. Anything faster than these would be like 1.8 or 1.4, 1.2. You're getting into like expensive prime areas. Again, the Sigma DC lenses are great for that. You get f1.4 lenses for under $400 each. You're looking at me through a 16 millimeter f1.4 right now. It's at 1.6, so it's not quite all the way open, but you see it gets really nice bokeh in the background. But the idea is, I wouldn't say that these are great for wildlife because they don't have any auto features. Wildlife is really hard. It's a lot like sports, where you're tracking something that's very small, that's moving fast, and it's literally a subject that's trying not to be seen. Sports is not that way, but wildlife is. So you have to have something that's a fast lens, so that means f2.8, maybe f4 you could get away with, but 2.8 is going to be better. 1.8 is going to be even better, and you're going to want like the ability to autofocus with those, so you get perfect focus as opposed to in the area focus. I would say that these are great for portraits, documentaries or like interviews where you're sitting someone down and they're not moving. For live streaming, things like that, you get a lot of character in the lens, and you don't have to worry about it just like autofocusing and doing like weird stuff like that where it looks like the whole image is moving. You'll have a static shot once you set it up. It'll just stay like that, which can be really nice. I do like them for video. I shoot manual a lot of the times, and I actually rack my focus and control my focus that way. But these lenses can also be pretty stiff. So because they're screw mount, if you rack your focus too hard, it can unscrew the lens. All you have to do is look up some tutorials on how to clean these lenses, or send them to someone like me or other professionals that know how to clean them out, make them all, nice and squeaky clean and fast action and all that stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of benefits to getting lenses like this, because like realistically, a 35 millimeter lens that's f2.8, it's going to be pretty expensive. Like you're going to be getting into like especially for a full frame camera. If you're putting these on full frame, f2.8 anything is going to be over $500. As far as I know, there might be some like cheap primes, but so yeah, not great for wildlife shooting, but in the right circumstances, they can be fantastic. It's just that these lenses are completely manual. All right, so let's take a look at this thing on the focal reducer now. Pop this boy in here. There we go. All right, we're still on, and we'll switch it. So I don't think I've changed the focus area or anything like that. Let's take a look at this. All right, so you can see we're getting different color. First of all, our focus distance is different. So let's bring our focus distance in a little bit more. So you can see here with that extra element, you're getting a much wider view. It actually takes that full frame image and it shrinks it down so that it fits onto my crop sensor. So we were only seeing about, here to here before, but it added like 0.4, about 40% larger area. So you get, wider wides on your wide lenses, and the only thing is you get kind of different effects with the light. It increases the amount of light that's actually coming into your camera because it's focusing light that's going in this much, and it's focusing it to a smaller plane. So let's take a look at some of the lighting effects here with this guy. But we could also stop this down now. All right, so that's going to be closer to our this is going to be closer to our shot before in terms of exposure, but it's not going to be closer in terms of color rendition and all that stuff. There's going to be little artifacts there. As you can probably tell, this is a little bit more green than blue. That does have to do with the picture profile. But yeah. All right, so let's see how the flares are different. So you can see right there, there's a whole new ring of flaring in there. So if you look at it kind of going around in that circle, I'm just shining the light around the outside of the camera. I can even turn this down some, I think. Yeah, let's turn this down a little bit more. Yeah, you can totally see, like, there's right here, this ring, if I'm not mistaken, that's new. And that's the internal element of that other lens. Like the new focal reducer that's put into there. So you get some different effects depending on what you get. A focal reducer is going to be much more expensive. That's going to be about $100, while the other one, the glassless element, it'll only be about $15, $20. So again, our price points change there depending on what you get, and you can run into some problems. But typically, all the people that sell this stuff are very good at, you know, offering returns and whatnot if it doesn't work right. But yeah, so we got some sweet lens combos here. Let's take a look at our next tighter lens. All right, so that's a 58. I believe this is an 85. Yes, this is an 85. All right, so we're gonna look at just about a normal lens, which is 50 millimeters is considered normal on a lens. It's about what the human eye sees. This is a pretty famous lens as well. This is a Helios 44M4, which is a newer model of a classic lens made by Helios. All right, so we're gonna pop this guy off, and we're gonna put it on without the focal reducer at first. Then we'll switch that over, and you can see what it looks like with the focal reducer on it. All right, so, oh yeah, here. So we'll take a look at this lens up close really quick. So this is the 44M-4. Interesting little thing. You can see the markings on the front. Are they actually in English for this one? Yeah. Yeah, okay, so you're getting English markings because it's a newer lens. The older ones are going to be all in Russian. You're going to see all kinds of like Russian stuff on them. Like here, I'll show you. I don't know if you saw. This is the Mir 1B. So you can see it's got actual Russian lettering in there. This one's going to be in English because it's a newer model. Let's bring that back. Okay. All right. So now we're going to pop this guy on here, and we're going to switch over to see what that looks like. Okay, each one of these lenses is a little bit different, so I might have to change some settings here, but let's see. All right, again, we're real tight and real bright too. All right, so, oh, that's right, this lens goes super close. We can get about a foot, 2 feet away. Let's bring this out. And how do we stop this lens down? All right, so we're going to lower the ISO on this instead. So instead of trying to fix the aperture, which I can't figure out how to do on that lens right now. I had it before, but Haven't used this one. I also have another version of the 44M that has on the very front. It affects the aperture. Let's see if it's that. No, it's not. That isn't on this one. Okay, so I'm gonna scoot back a little bit, but you can see how crazy sharp this lens is. Very, very sharp. You get great clarity and all that stuff. It looks a little washed out with the color right now. I think that's just because we're in that picture profile, like zero picture profile. But overall, great look. Looks fantastic. Let's focus a little bit further back. Go to about here. I'll lower this guy so you can actually see me. There we go. Grab my light. This is gonna have to go this way. All right, so here we are. So, great looking lens, super sharp. Again, very inexpensive. Let's check out our flares, see what that looks like. Our Rick flares. Okay, so here we have our light. And wow, look at how intense that is. That's just going around the lens. That's going directly into it. You can see it just blows out like crazy there. So it's very, very powerful flaring, which you could do some really cool stuff with, because like you can have this light off of the actual camera. So like you don't see the light in the shot right now, but you're getting this like halo kind of effect. Crazy. Yeah, Zach, definitely good for interviews. Very, very sharp lenses, especially if you stop them down just a little tiny bit. That can make a big difference on them. What is... I think I remember how to do this one. Yeah, not quite sure. These things, they've all got like weird focus rings, because the idea was back in the day, you would leave your aperture as wide open as it can go, but right before you take the shot, the aperture closes down to a preset value so you get the proper exposure. So there's some mechanisms in these lenses that haven't been accounted for on new cameras because they don't really care. But you can, like, if you learn them, they can be super helpful. So you can go from, you know, a manual lens totally wide open so you can see everything to f8 in an instant if you want to. You just switch this little, move this click. There's some where it's like a manual thing. There's some where it's meant to work in the body of the old SLR cameras. But yeah, they're very, very sharp lenses. They're awesome. Let's take a look at the price on this one. All right, so we're gonna search Abigail shop again. Let's take a look at the Helios 44M. Yeah, okay, so she's got these up. This is the M42 Russian mount, which is the 42 millimeter screw mount. 42 and 39 millimeter both work the same. I think they both cover full frame. Maybe 39 just covers crop sensor, but either way, you can adapt them very, very easily to each other. Just getting an M42 mount to whatever camera mount that you have, and then getting M39 to M42 mounts, very cheap. They're like $1 for like the screw threads. It's great. And then you get, you know, the mount for like $20. So yeah, this is $30 with $15 shipping. There's ones with, you know, both body caps. There's ones with just a front cap, but they're very, very, like, you can find a lot of them. So they're inexpensive, and not a lot of people buy them. So they're also inexpensive. But they're all kind of different. Like, each one has slightly different effects to it. Like the other 44M that I have is a I think it's a Helios 44. There's no M, there's no other markings to it, and it does it's an M39 mount as opposed to an M42. Slight differences, but basically the same lenses. Let's take a look at our next one. This is going to be a little tighter lens than our last one. This is a Jupiter lens, which I love these. This one gets super wide or super fast. It's f2 is the widest it goes. Open that all the way wide, and I'll just show it to you here right now. You'll be able to see just how wide open of an eye that is. Let's pull this in again. Yeah, so we get our Jupiter markings and all that stuff. Very, very wide open, but you can see this has it's what's called a stepless aperture. So the aperture inside of the camera, you can see it right there, will open and close seamlessly. It doesn't have these clicks to it. It's called, a lot of people call it a declicked aperture. And what that does is if you're shooting video, you can adjust the aperture on your camera without, seeing a bunch of like clicks as it goes down in exposure. You'll just get that nice smooth, like it just darkens a little bit, as opposed to, like a gradient like that, which is much more rough. Oh, we haven't looked at the 44 on the speed booster. My apologies. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves here. Yeah, these definitely are great lenses for interviewing. That is for sure. For sure, and 7 years ago. A little historical humor there if you got that. All right, so Helios 44M. As I smack it off the adapter, onto this is a Pixco. Huh. Yeah, I can't figure out this dang thing. Aperture on this lens. Anyway, Pixco makes the M42 to NEX adapter. There we go. Which gives you a nice boost in light, and it focuses that down for you. All right, so let's take a look at this one. Let's see where we're at. Ooh, nice and wide. Okay. So much wider. Big difference, about a 40% jump. This is about where our previous lens was pre-focal reducer. So this is about a 37 millimeter on full frame. Again, sorry about the choppiness. I think it's because we're going through an HDMI connector. I think that's the problem. Whatever. I'll figure it out at some point. You can see the color rendering is a little bit different. Like there's slight differences there, but you get very, very sharp shots. Everything looks good. It's even a little bit sharper right here. Yeah, it's kind of cool. And like off to the side, it starts to get a little fuzzy. You get some vignetting with the lenses. You can kind of see that there's a lighter patch right in the middle. Like right about here, there's going to be a lighter patch, but overall it's going to be great quality for a cheap lens. Let's look at the difference in our flares now too. All right, so we're still getting that big blast, but there's a little bit more like right here. You can see there's some more character. You're getting some chroma kind of splitting there, and it looks like we're getting a different little green element out here. So yeah, I love the look of this lens. You get some very like washy flares on it. See, as you pass this thing across, just looks really cool. All right, so that is the Helios 44, which you can also get in a 41 and all kinds of other numbers. On the focal reducer, let's switch that out. I have the Jupiter all ready to go. It's a Jupiter 85 millimeter f2, and if you know about lenses, you know that when you get tighter on your lenses, so the longer the focal distance or the focal range, so like if you have a 9 millimeter f2.8 lens, it's going to be pretty wide. It's going to get a lot of stuff, but it's not going to have as much of an out of focus effect for things in the background as a 50 millimeter f2.8. They could be the same actual physical diameter. They could be the same in all other specifications, but because you're getting a tighter shot, there's going to be more difference between your subject that is in focus and something 10 feet behind it that is out of focus. Like this lens is a 1.4. It's at 1.6 right now, but you can see it's not that crazy, the out of focus elements. Meanwhile, if this was the 56 millimeter version of this lens at 1.6, if I moved back that much, I would be completely out of focus. Like my focal plane is not as deep. So let's get this lens on here. We're doing it just the straight adapter. As you can see, it's just a hole. Just puts it at the right distance from the lens to adapt it, or right distance from the sensor to adapt it to the camera that you're trying to get it on. All right, so that's our aperture. We'll leave this wide open at 2. And then let's take a look. This is the Jupiter 9, I think it is. Yeah, Jupiter 9, which is a 85 millimeter f2 lens. So let's switch over here. I'll try to find where this thing is focused. All right, so here we are. We're getting about in the right spot. Okay, so I'm getting further and further from the microphone, and I apologize for that, but these lenses are great. This is another fantastic lens for an interview. You're going to get very out of focus backgrounds, but you're going to get very, very sharp subjects. So you can see, you know, my eyes are very, very sharp in this. I might not be at the exact spot, which is what makes it difficult. You can see I'm getting out of focus there. Here we're sharp. There we're out of focus again. You will have a tighter focal plane to work with, so the distance between out of focus and in focus is going to be less. But it works great for interviews. You can really, you know, hone in on your subject and get some really good stuff. But let's take a look at this thing through the speed booster after I do some flare tests on it. Grabbing the light. We're going to see what this looks like. Alrighty. See if we can turn this. Alright, this light's on 5%, so I've got it as low as I can go. But you can see we just get very powerful lens flares on this thing. I really like this element that you get, which is the very side of the lens interacting with the other elements inside. You get some really cool flares with this as someone, you know, moves the light across it or around it. You get some sweet, sweet elements. All right. Let's take a look at this thing with the focal reducer on there. Okay. So, take this boy off. The adapter that I'm using on this right now, the M42 to NEX with no, you know, no glass. This is made by K&F Concept. I believe it was about $30. Okay, we got to unscrew this boy from that boy. Alrighty. Ooh, okay. Try not to drop these things. Getting it threaded on is the hard part. Okay, so there we go. We're all put together now. Get this guy on there. The glass version, the one that actually has an element inside of it, is much more like much heavier. Makes a big difference there. Okay, so that's adjusting that. And that is, let's see where we're at. All right. Ooh, okay. So again, adds a whole bunch more distance that you can like a wider focal plane. I'm trying to think of what the word is. It focuses the lens correctly on the sensor, so you can actually see it directly. But let's look at the flares on this guy. I think this is a little bit bright actually. Let's bring this down. With these lenses, I would actually suggest stopping them down when you're using them, because if you go from 2 to a 2.4 or 2.8 or something like that, 2.2 I guess is the in between, then you're gonna have much better sharpness in your lenses. It's gonna be a little bit less fuzzy on the edges. It's gonna take out a lot of the chromatic aberration and a lot of the issues that these lenses have. So especially if you can shoot at like an f4, all of these lenses are going to be near flawless. They're going to be really great, dependent on the little things like scratches and if they were used or if they're new, etc. There's all kinds of things that affect the way that a lens can look, including fungus growing inside of it. And some of these are from like the 1960s, 1950s. So, you know, if you get one that's moldy, you get one that's moldy. But they have interesting characteristics that you can work with. I haven't gotten a single moldy or scratched lens from Abigail. Check out Abigail's store on eBay. She's got great lenses. Now let's look at some flares. So I'm already seeing some new elements like these coming up, these little halos. Yeah, look at that. A big splotch right there. That looks really cool. And you're getting some high contrast color like these greens that almost completely cover everything behind it. And again, this light's only at 5%. So if I you know, tune this way up, or like just a more powerful light shows up in your shot, you're gonna get some crazy lensing effects. So I like that. I think that looks really cool. Let's move on to our next lens. All right. So next up is, I think it's also a Jupiter lens, actually. Yeah, okay. So, you remember what I told you about, like, shallow depth of field getting shallower as you get into a tighter lens? I got a 135 lens here, and it's only f3.5. So, a lot less light from this f2 Jupiter, right? Real long throw on our focus ring here. It's a sweet little compact lens, but it's 135 millimeters, so it's a very long lens. This is the Jupiter 37A. You can kind of see it right on there. We've got the name, Jupiter 37A. It's got some cool elements, and you can see just like right through this thing. Very, very, very wide. Or very, like, large opening to it. The physical lens diameter is large on this guy, for what it is anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna get this onto our K&F Concepts. Screw mount goes on just like that. Still don't feel like I'm completely in focus right now. Anyway, let's pop this guy off. And pop this one on. Okay, so this one's going to be real tight. This is the tightest configuration that I have with an old Russian lens right now. So we're going to try and get this in the right spot so that I can actually stand in the shot. Open it up as much as we can. All right, I'm not going to change any of my settings just so that you can get like a get an idea for it. Set it to about 10, I think that's 10 meters. That's going to be way too far. It's a 4. All right, and I think that's all of our settings on here. So let's, without changing settings, let's just move over to this shot. So much darker, as you can see. But still very, very sharp, and not that far off in the amount of light that you're getting from those other lenses. It's obviously a darker exposure right now. I'm going to compensate. No, you know what? I'm actually not going to compensate. I like the way that the color is rendering in this lens. Everything seems very like accurate to me. We're getting good flesh tones. I'm standing between a red light and a blue light right now, so that's like some of the harshest conditions that you can really be in when it comes to color. Like a lot of this stuff typically would like oversaturate. Like the blues would just be crunchy and bad. Let's I really do need some wireless mics. You're absolutely right. I need some ones that work, actually. I have some, but they're crap. Okay. Let's check our light here. Look at that. So that's what I was talking about with this one. You get some crazy bokeh on this. Or like lens flares, I should say, not bokeh. I really like that effect. I think it looks fantastic, and you can use it for some really spacey type stuff. Let's come back here. Let's chat up here. I do really need some wireless mics that work well. The ones that I have currently, they just sort of sound kind of crappy. So, and it's also hard to sync wireless mics with live broadcast. So, I just haven't been messing with them lately. But yeah, we'll get them up on there. Thank you for mentioning that, Ashley, by the way. Yeah, there's something with these lenses where they look pretty dang cool. All right, so we'll switch this off for the ones that have the focal reducer on there, which is going to give us a little bit more light. It's great for lenses like this, like the 3.5s that aren't that great at low light situations, but they still have a ton of potential when it comes to how sharp they are, how, you know, just how beautiful the lenses are. I find when stopping this one down to f4, that's its absolute sharpest, and you don't really need to go past that. With some of the other ones, you have to get down to like a 5.6 to make it really work. So technically, this is one of the lowest light lenses if you want perfect quality. Alrighty. Let's pop this in here. And afterwards, we're going to look at the prices of the Jupiter series, because there's a bunch of Jupiter lenses. There's some really cool ones. Yeah, so the 37A, 11A, there's a 12, there's a 6. They have different mounts too. So like there's Kiev and Contacts, which is a different type of mount. You got to be careful of that because I made that mistake. But yeah, the 37A, this one that we're looking at right now, I'm seeing it as low as $45, $20 shipping. $50, $20 shipping. Yeah, 37A. I always tend to buy the cheapest version that I can find, so it's not a matter of like, well, you know, when you get this one, it's gonna be good, and if you buy the crappy ones, it's gonna be bad. Like, it's kind of a crapshoot. You can spend more and get a bad one. You can spend less and get a great one. Like, all kinds of things. So yeah, they do have an F4 version of this too, by the way. It's the 11A. It's a little bit less expensive. You can get it $36 with $20 shipping, so about $55. F4 135. That's going to be for the Zenit Practica though. So this is the, or no, yeah, okay. Zenit Practica is M42, so you can get them in that lens mount that you want. I think. Anyway, whatever. Let's take a look at this lens and we'll figure it out later. All right, so we're gonna go back. Haven't changed any of my settings. Obviously, my focus plane is in a different spot, so I'm gonna bring that, I think, back to us. I think. Oh, battery's dead. All right. Well, let's switch that battery out really quick, and then I'll show you this lens. Okay. I was wondering about that. I had been letting this this camera just sit. That's not great if you're trying to preserve your battery life. Okay. So, that out of there. Let's try this one. I was shooting so much this past week that I really don't know which of my batteries is full and which one's empty. Did we win the lottery? Yay, 77%. We won the lottery. Beautiful. Okay, so pop this guy back on here. Love the quick release mounts, plate adapters for these Kyer tripods. Definitely go check those out. They're fantastic. All right, let's give this a shot. This is, yeah, with the focal reducer, 135. You get a little bit more power. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, let me grab a light. I'm gonna try and find. Oh, looks like the spot is a little bit closer. Okay, so I'm closer to the camera. You can probably hear me just a little bit better because of that, but I'm closer to the camera. We're getting higher exposure, so it's a little harsher on the colors. I think that's just because we're getting concentrated light pressed into that. But all the settings are the same on this. It's still at the same f-stop value, which is 3.5. Same speed, everything like that. Let's look at it with the light going through it. So, wow, okay. I'm at almost a 45-degree angle from the lens, like here. And we're already starting to get flaring, like right up in here. Yeah, look at that. Okay. And then when we get closer to the actual lens, it just gets more and more pronounced. Wow. That's wild. You get some real exploding lens flares there. And, oh, shooting across the lens gives you some... Wow. Okay, so this is really interesting. That's some very complex flaring. Like, that would look really cool in the right circumstances. Yeah. I'm into it. What do you think? Leave a comment or something like that. Tell me what you think about that. So yeah, that's those are the Russian lenses that I currently have. Yep, that's all of them. Those are all the M42 mount lenses that I have. I do have some other M39 mounts. They work a little bit differently. They have some different effects to them. There's ones that I have that are made for tiny cameras, so they work like macros. There's ones that they're made for a completely different mount, like Kiev mount. Those work like macros. There's other ones that are like, I think they're Pentax little cameras. And those things, they give me like a crop in. So I wouldn't be able to use the full image, but what I would do then is shoot in 4K, and then you'd have a 1080p image in the middle that you could use. So there's just so many different ways to use lenses like this, to use inexpensive camera equipment in the right way, and get some really great effects out of it because of that. Let's see how much that that Jupiter 9 is, because I think that was the most expensive Jupiter lens that I got. That might have been the most expensive lens that I got. There's an f250 Jupiter 8 for $35. Wow. Abigail might be out of Jupiter 9s. Oh, okay. So the most expensive lens that I'm really seeing on here is it's another Jupiter lens, but it's a Jupiter 6. It's an f2.8 180 millimeter M39 mount. Man, Jupiter 8M, $12, but that's a Kiev Contax, so that's a much smaller lens mount. I'll actually go grab some of those just to show you. So the Kiev lenses, they came on this like the ones that I got came on this one camera it's a tri-mount camera. So the lenses are configured like this. They sit right on the front of the camera and you can switch between them. Super cool idea. Yeah, Zach. Great comment. That is great for music videos. The flaring and stuff. Using high character lenses, I agree. Great for music videos. And music videos are something that, like, you don't need to be perfectly on focus all the time. You can use that shifting focus or just like hold like a focal plane and have your subject go in and out of it, and it looks really, really cool. There's a lot of artistic options that you can have when doing stuff with these. But yeah, this is a very, very small screw mount. I think it's like a 20 something millimeter screw mount. Attaches via an adapter like this. This is a Kiev 16U to E mount from RAF Camera. All right, so let's take a look at these. This is a 50 millimeter lens. This is a 20, and this is a 12. So it sounds like this one's super wide, this one's pretty darn wide, and then this one's about a normal lens, right? So real quick, I'm gonna throw on the 50 millimeter on here. I'm gonna pop that onto this camera. Flip this around the right way so you can actually, I'll point it directly at me, actually, because I don't think that we're going to get much more than that. Take this guy off. And then this goes on here. Plug this guy back in. Let me just check my settings here real quick. Okay, trying to figure out where our focal plane is here. Okay, all right, yeah, we're good. Alrighty, so let's give this thing a second. And let's switch over. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Wow, all right. So very short focal plane. This is, again, the 50 millimeter. So this looks to me more like a 85 or so. So these lenses, as opposed to being wider than what they actually say, like our last lenses that were made for full frame, are tighter than they actually say. Hold on. No, that doesn't make sense. These are like way tighter than what they actually say on the thing. When adjusted to the right focal length, or like using a lens like a focal reducer, I think it would tighten these lenses up even more, and it, like, we would get this ring around the edges where it's all vignetted and stuff. But you can definitely get some cool looks with these and some macro sort of effects. Let's adjust our focus. Let's see how. Yeah, so that's as close as it focuses. It can focus further away, but you get some very interesting color with these, and some really, really cool effects. Like, I really like how sharp that is. Like, that's just a very, very sharp lens, and not very expensive at all. Let's see what it is for Kiev mount lenses. Okay, so you can get these three lenses with the actual Vega 7.1, which is the USSR camera, old Russian camera, for $115 plus $30 shipping. If you get the lenses individually, the set of lenses is about $100. Yeah, about $115 I'm seeing. The individual lenses are about $35, $40 a piece, so you're getting a good deal when you get all of them at once. I think this is a really cool shot, personally. I can't completely see it when I'm looking at the camera, but from what I can see looking over there, it just looks really sweet. Let's switch back, and I'll switch to another lens of this thing. We're about 2.5 feet away from the camera, 3 feet, about 1 meter. Yeah, and the focal distance says about 0.8, so it's accurate on the when it comes to the actual focal lengths and focal distances and all the measurements on the lens. Alrighty. Let's check out our 20 mil. This is a 20 millimeter f2. You always want to back thread first. Get them in the right spot. Come on. This guy doesn't want to go in. There we go. Apparently I need to clean the threads on this guy out. Okay, so now that's working. All right, now here's where we start to get the effect that I was going to talk about. All right, let's tighten this thing up as much as possible. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to switch. Okay, so here we're getting the effect that I was talking about, where you're starting to get vignetting around the edges of the lens. That last lens was, it had a wide enough, what is that called? It's like the spot that the lens covers. It's got wide enough coverage that it covers the entire sensor. This one projects a spot that's much tighter, so I could take this 4K image and cut into it and still get 1080p out of it, and it would look fine. The only thing is I would have to cut directly into the center of the shot. I wouldn't be able to like really adjust too much. Like I wouldn't have a lot of room to move that shot around or like pick my shot. So I would have to know when I'm shooting this, like, all right, only here and here is really where I'm shooting. So this is a very close lens. I don't think it focuses very far away, but let's see if we can make it. Yeah, so we can hit that background stuff and a little bit further, and that's as far as it goes. So, oh yeah, okay, it'll focus to infinity, which is pretty cool. But it gives you this interesting little like kind of peephole effect. It reminds me of when you're looking through a door frame or something like that, and you'd see the image out in the hallway. So you can use it to emulate some very interesting lens effects. Oh, and yeah, these have crazy blurs too, or lens flares too. Let's take a look at that quick. Pretty not bad if you ask me. And still very inexpensive. Like under $150 for 3 lenses. I like it. Let's go back here. All right, now let's check our last lens on here. So that was our 20 millimeter. Let's look at our 12 millimeter f2 lens. Yep, all the way at f2. You got to make sure that you tighten these all the way down. If there's even like a little bit of distance between the back of the thread and where the threads go to, it's going to change where your your focusing zones are. So it's going to affect the actual abilities of the lens, which I think is kind of interesting, but you know, can be frustrating. So let's take a look at this one quick. This is the f2 12mm Kiev mount lens. All right. So much wider, and you can focus much closer. So like, I was about 6 inches away from the lens right there. Let's put this in a spot where I can actually see what it looks like. Okay, so yeah, I am inches away from this lens, about 6 inches away. But you can focus back, so you can get. I think you can get to. Yep, you can get to infinity. But yeah, this could be a really interesting little POV camera. Again, you can crop into that with a 4K image. It gives you some weird sort of effects to it. For some reason, all the choppiness in my video is gone from before. It doesn't seem to be doing the thing that it was earlier. No idea why. But all right, let's get the focus on here. Stopping it down takes away a lot of that. There's like soft color right in here, and you'll notice when I switch the aperture, it basically just affects right in the middle here. And it takes away a lot of that like haziness. But this is at f2. Let's take a look at it with those with some light flaring through it. There we go. Focus a little further back, and I'll shoot those lens flares now. Where is my focus distance here? Okay, I'm pretty well in focus here. You can see there's a lot of light bleed inside of this thing. That would be like the bluish hues. I can't really see it. All right, the bluish hues that are kind of showing up right in here. So you're getting some sort of an effect there, but you can use that like anything. Let's look at the flaring. So this is something that's very unique with adapted lenses and lenses that have like vignetting like this. You can actually light up the inside. So like this stuff that's happening over here, you're actually lighting up the inside of the barrel of the lens, and that's what you're seeing there. So you're getting all kinds of like lens effects that are occurring directly inside of the lens, as opposed to just seeing it like the effect on the sensor. Ooh, that is one tight image. Sorry, it probably feels like I'm grabbing your face. It's really weird. Anyway, all kinds of lenses like this are available. Go check out Abigail's store, Avigeya 1975 at AVIGEYA. I'm gonna have a link down below. I gotta go back through all these videos and add a bunch of links. But yeah, it's really cool lens. Wide variety of these things. There's tons of experimentation you can do, and they're only really going to work on mirrorless cameras because you have that extra distance between the sensor and the lens mount. You don't have a mirror right in the middle, and you're not fighting for that space. So let's go back to our main shot, and now we can finish out for the day here. I believe that was all I had to talk about. Let's check our list and make sure. Alrighty. Alrighty. So thank you to everyone who watched this. I really appreciate you joining in. We hit all of our points that we wanted to hit today, so we talked about everything we wanted to talk about. We went through LED lights. We went through the Witcher video that we just worked on. By the way, go check that out. It's on Visionary on YouTube. Search Visionary Witcher. You'll find the video. We talked about that a little bit. We talked about Russian lenses tonight. And this is all stuff that I've been wanting to chat with you about for a long time. And I'm really happy to be finally getting the opportunity to do this stuff. As I sneeze everywhere. Thank you. Could have been battery level. Yeah, actually, you know what? That's very true. The Zach was just mentioning the weird frame, like the skipping that we were getting before in the video. That was probably because of like a low battery or something like that. I think it was because we were using an adapter, but then when we used it later, it was fine. I'll troubleshoot that and figure it out. I think you're right though, Zach. It probably does have to do with power coming in. But yeah, we're here all the time. Every Sunday, I'm going to be doing these live streams. I'm going to be chatting with you from noon till whenever. And then hopefully that night we'll be coming back and doing some more gaming. It's great to have people involved in these and chatting in there. I apologize if anyone on any of the other platforms didn't quite, like their messages didn't come through. I was getting a bit of a weird thing on Restream chat, so I might not have seen your chats. And I apologize if I didn't see them, but I'll try and answer your questions next time. So join us again next Sunday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be doing more media, more photo, more videos, more editing, all kinds of stuff. And you can ask me anything while I do so. This isn't a sponsored live stream or anything like that, but if you go check out the FCMG podcast, I would really appreciate that. And if you want to support even more, you can go to patreon.com/FCMG and you can donate to our program there. Or if you're on Twitch, you can, donate there as well. All of the money that comes in through either the Patreon or through Twitch, through our PayPal, through donations, is going to go directly to the show, to the podcast, and to the other things that I'm doing just for the audience. Like I really want to do more of these live streams during podcasts. I want to do podcasts with a variety of people, talk to more creative professionals, and I need your help to do that. So if we can make this happen, that would be so cool. I'd love to unbox more gear and talk to you about it and do all kinds of things like that. But hey, I work as a freelancer full time, so I'm focusing on that first and then doing this stuff. But I really appreciate all of your help watching this stuff and subscribing, following. All that means a whole lot. So I'm going to leave you off with a song, as I always do when we close out the podcast, but I'll be back again next week. Hopefully during the week too. If I have time, I'll be on here editing and doing like some gaming and whatnot, just having a good time. We might start showing off our armory and the medieval kind of combat stuff that we've been doing, and also jam sessions at King Studios. That's going to be hopefully one of our big things coming up soon. So yeah, stay tuned. There's going to be a lot more coming out on the channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. And until next time, peace. I'm going to set you off with that tune now.